Jeremy McGrath has Ezra Lusk right on his back cover, and Ezra Lusk collides with Jeremy McGrath. The bump and run, that's what you got to expect on this track. Ezra Lusk has taken the lead from Jeremy McGrath. Here comes Jeremy right back in the timing section. Jeremy McGrath, Ezra Lusk. Ezra Lusk is out in front, noses out. Will McGrath put it to him?
Yeah, he did.
Yes, sir. Turnabout fair play, but Ezra slips it and now has a pretty good clear shot. The checkers for Ezra Lusk. Ezra Lusk winning his 4th career victory. His first ever back-to-back Supercross victory. It was the most exciting race of the young season, evidence that McGrath was the man to beat, but also testimony that Ezra Lusk has raised his level of excellence. From the Seattle Kingdome, Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs ready to get right to the action. Our qualifying procedure. The top 4 riders from each of 2 heats advance to the main event. The others advancing to the semifinal round, where the top 5 transfer to the main. Only one more chance to earn any of that record purse. Top 2 out of the last chance qualifier will fill out the 20-rider field. We're getting set for heat number 1 here at the Kingdome, as you see right there. Ezra Lusk off of 2 wins, David Bailey.
He's lined up pretty far to the inside. He's got Doug Henry on that 4-stroke to the inside of him.
Davey Coombs down at the gate.
Yeah, you know, just before this race, I got a chance to talk to Jeff Emig about the bad rides he's been having in his heat races, like in Phoenix and in Houston, where he failed to qualify directly. He said, although riding in the semis helps him with his technique, it does nothing for his confidence. He says tonight he feels good, he feels loose, and he doesn't want to ride any semis.
Okay, we're set to go. Emig, Lusk, Craig, Pichon, Huffman, Henry, Lawrence, Mickael, Berry. Who will get the whole shot in our first heat race? Jeff Emig, number 1, has the advantage with number 15. A teammate, Damon Huffman, on the outside. Ferry goes down in the corner. Mickael Craig out in front on the Honda of Troy, number 13. You just got through mentioning, David Bailey, that he looked very good in practice.
Excellent in practice. I think everybody was looking so much at Lusk and McGrath, they overlooked Craig. Was going very fast. And right behind him, number 15, who's just getting passed by his teammate, Huffman, had an excellent line through the whoop section, jumping through the same way Vuillemin did last weekend in the 125 class.
So we have Craig pulling it out. Boy, he's putting 2 heat races back-to-back. Last week, also excelled winning a heat race. Emig is behind him. Number 19 starting to make a move. That's Henry on Damon Huffman. Henry cuts to the inside, and he moves into 3rd with Huffman in 4th, Pichon in 5th, and Lusk is in 6th position here in heat number 1.
Well, Lusk is going to have to really pull out some magic here, because everybody ahead of him is a great rider. Tough to pass here. Not that many ruts have developed in these jumps just yet.
Mickael Craig coming off a strong podium performance in Phoenix. He took the heat win and played it really smart in the main event.
Lusk picking up a spot from Pichon. The pace is unbelievable right now. So fast. As I pointed out, the ruts haven't begun to develop, so that these guys can go anywhere they want on the racetrack, which makes it a little difficult to pass.
Our real battle is for 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now. Ezra Lusk trying to put on a move as Mickael Craig pulls out in front to about a 2.5-second lead on Henry. The 4-stroke, Yamaha 4-stroke having trouble. Here comes Emig at his tail in 3rd. Ezra Lusk just pops into 4th. Cutting to the inside, Damon Huffman. Ezra tries to catch back up. Bar to bar for 4th place.
Lusk is going through these guys like a hot knife through butter. I don't believe his timing. Huffman on the outside with a great line to the whoop section. Lusk in at the last lap, made up a lot of time.
Lusk in front of Huffman to stay, maybe. As we go to the outside corner, Emig is his next target with Henry in front of Emig. Here comes Ezra Lusk. Team Honda's Ezra Lusk.
I pointed out the guys are able to pretty much go wherever they want. It's kind of hard to pass. Seems like it'd be great for passing.
Oh, Ezra Lusk moves into 3rd in front of the defending champion.
The pace is so equal, but amongst all these guys, other than Lusk, cutting through them all.
Pichon is showing some speed back there, too. Emig cannot run. Oh, Ezra Lusk goes down. There was some contact.
He collected everybody.
Plastic.
Hell, he collected Huffman and Pichon. They had nowhere to go.
That's going to make for an incredible semifinal round. Ezra Lusk with some bad luck, so let's go back to the leaders. It is Mickael Craig with a 2.5-second lead on Henry. A little pad now back to Emig as Lusk is back up and running.
Unbelievable. Lusk over that jump, reaching out to straighten his front fender in the air. This is what happened. He got to push a little bit, bumped by Emig, lost the front wheel, stuck in one of those whoops, and here came Huffman and Pichon, nowhere to go.
So right now, can Phil Lawrence qualify coming out of the heat race for the first time this season? We'll find out when the checkers wave. PR financing on selected models. Welcome back to the Seattle Kingdome, and we've already seen a great amount of action here in our first qualifying heat. Here's Mickael Craig out of the San Diego area. We mentioned prior, coming off a very fine performance in Phoenix. He feels confident now. He doesn't want to overextend himself. He wants to get up into a single-digit number for next year.
Now, the way he's looked last week and so far tonight, it's very possible.
Doug Henry on the four-stroke, who took a vicious crash in practice, David Bailey, is in second place and has a big pad over third place in Jeff Emig.
That's right where it took place on that triple there. The ruts started to develop in practice. They got very deep, and as this bike compressed into the face of the takeoff, all that dirt just scraped on the bottom of the bike, stopped all his momentum, and he went right over the handlebars.
This has got to be a big confidence factor for the Honda of Troy rider, Mickael Craig.
Always feels good to come back to a city where you won the last year.
He still has a job holding Henry back, though. Henry has steadily pulled up on Mickael Craig and cut out of that whoop section. Look out, Craig. Right now, the top four guys are pretty well defined because Lance Smale is quite a ways off the pace behind Lawrence in fourth.
A little bit of a break for Emig, too, because he had so much company with Lusk and Huffman and Pichon. Now he's all by himself. Those guys going down, so it looks like he's going to go straight into the main. Wouldn't it be something if Henry could pull back-to-back wins, once on a two-stroke and again on a four-stroke?
Davey, you're closer than we are down on the track. Does Mickael Craig have a flat problem?
Well, I'll tell you what, I just saw Marshall put on his board and say loose and be confident. He has to know that Doug Henry's coming. Do you think Mike can hold him off?
Here comes Doug Henry. Doug Henry to the outside. Mickael Craig, Doug Henry. Henry blasts out of the back side of those whoops. Craig looking back. Has the inside, but here comes Henry. Block pass.
Brilliant move.
Doug Henry, the joy of this crowd. They love his story. They love him like so many people do. Mickael Craig is having his problems.
Now Craig's just backing off. He realizes he's got a huge lead over third place Emig. Why battle with Henry when he's on a roll? If I were Craig at this point, I would try to learn as much as I could from Doug. Follow him around these last couple of laps, try to take that to the main.
Doug Henry, I should say, on a two-stroke last year, right here, surprised everybody in the heat race, coming up big time, and then won the race, won the main event.
Excellent ride. Got a little bit of a gift from his teammate Lusk, who seemed to be going away with the main, making a mistake in the whoops and handing it over to Doug, who worked hard from behind. Excellent line choice last year. Really saved him a lot of energy and earned him that lead.
Henry on the white flag lap with number 13, Honda Troy's Mickael Craig, still pulling up.
That section right there, Doug is jumping a little bit different timing. What that allows him to do is take off on the jumps where he needs all this momentum where there are no ruts. As those ruts develop, guys have their favorite lines, and if you make a mistake there, it can cost you. It cost him in practice.
Jeff Emig, if he should make a mistake, Phil Lawrence is right there on his tail. Those are the four that it looks like will get the transfer to the main event. The final turn for Doug Henry. The checkers for Henry. Oh, what this could mean to Doug Henry after some sour performances here in the start of the season. Phil Lawrence qualifies the highest so far this season, number 24 on the Kawasaki. We'll be right back with words from our winner in a moment. Welcome back to the Kingdome as we see Doug Henry making the perfect pass on Michael Craig and going on to win our first qualifying heat. Henry, Craig, Emig, and Lawrence going directly to the main event, which means we're going to have a heck of a first semifinal round with Pichon, Lusk, and Huffman having to go to the semifinals. Let's go down to Davey now.
Okay, thanks, Art. I'm with a very happy Doug Henry. Now, Doug, your day didn't start out that good. Tell me about that wreck in practice.
Well, on this far side triple over here, I tried a different rut in practice. It was pretty ruddy, and I hit like a hole in there, and I went over the bars on the triple. Probably the worst place you want to go over the bars on the track, but I survived.
Yeah. No damage to you or the bike, because in that heat race right there, you looked fantastic.
Yeah, I felt really good in the heat race. You know, funny thing, in LA, I took a really nasty crash in practice, and the fans went crazy when I got up from that, and same thing happened here today. I led 19 laps in LA, so maybe we'll get something going here tonight.
Well, we'll see in a little bit.
Okay.
Larry Ward, off to one of his worst starts in recent years, is glad to come to the scene of his one and only victory as he gets set for heat number 2.
Come here with a positive attitude. You know, I heard Ezra say he went into that second race at Houston like it was the first race of the year. I'm going to do the same here at Seattle. Seattle's always been, even if things aren't just right, it seems I can always get a good result here. So coming to Seattle with an open mind, get a good result, and turn around the rest of the year from here.
32nd board is up for our second heat. Along with Ward, it's Jeremy McGrath, the points leader. You see him there. Kevin Windham, Yamaha's young rising star. Mike LaRocco, the veteran. Greg Albertyn, the former 3-time World GP champion. Ryan Hughes, who's starting to knock on the door. There's Ryan to the left. Jimmy Button had some great practice sessions. Michael Brown, Ty Birdwell, Voss, Atsuda, Rourke, Jean-Sebastien Roy from Canada, just to name a few, as we're getting set now. The 32nd board is sideways. We are almost set for our second qualifying heat from the Kingdome. Number 11 is Jimmy Button, but to the inside is Kevin Windham, number 8. Can he get through? Yes, he does. Kevin Windham and Jimmy Button, bar to bar. It's Jimmy Button in the whoops.
Jimmy looked excellent in practice. He went out there, jumped behind his teammate McGrath, actually passed him. Looked real relaxed, looked excellent yesterday as well. Comfortable in these situations.
It's Ryan Hughes cutting into second, number 10 on the Kawasaki. But look out for number 8, Kevin Windham. Windham has got to make his mark soon. He's trying to get over the mental hump. He won his first 250 race as a 125 rider last year in Charlotte, North Carolina. But he can't seem to get the timing down yet this season.
Well, he just can't crack into the podium, but he's been right there, knocking on the door, which is good. His first year on 250. The Button, looking good yesterday, looking good so far today, using that long, lanky frame, a lot like the same build as Larry Ward. It's obviously working in his favor in the ruts. They don't seem to bother him at all.
Jeremy McGrath is on the bubble with Voss behind him. As we've got Button, Hughes, Windham, Jeremy McGrath, Voss, and here comes Mike LaRocco to the inside, cutting off Voss behind Jeremy McGrath. Number 11, Jimmy Button. He had a fun time at his hometown in Phoenix in the last one. Here comes Ryan Hughes. Ryan starting the season off with an injured back. Very little practice for something like 2.5 weeks. And now it looks like he's getting back up to speed, David.
Right there, nice block pass. Ryan set that up behind the straightaway, positioning himself to the inside, has stayed close enough to make the pass, and already starting to pull away a little bit.
Here comes Jeremy McGrath on Windham. As you see Ryan's mechanic.
Well, Jeremy was trying to be nice there. Almost.
6 laps to go in our second qualifying heat.
Jeremy really tucking that front wheel tight and trying to not get in there and hit Windham.
LaRocco would love to challenge Jeremy McGrath for the final transfer spot. But here comes McGrath, battling it out with Windham.
All the riders are being forced to ride all 3 of the jumps of the triple because of the downed rider there. Completely out of the way, but flaggers just decided in their best interest.
This qualifying heat still up in the air as Jeremy McGrath moves into third around Windham. So our order now is Jimmy Button behind Ryan Hughes in second place. Then we've got Jeremy McGrath in third. It's Windham in fourth with Mike LaRocco knocking on that door. 4 more riders will put the hurt on the rest of the field, sending them to the semis. It's all coming up next. Welcome back to the Kingdome. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey comes as Jimmy Button retakes the lead on Hughes. Hughes cuts to the inside, and we're going to have a bar-to-bar situation. Off the rocker.
Well, there you get an idea of the different timing. Ryan going to the inside out of the corner. Completely different rhythm through there, and it worked out in Button's favor.
Larry Ward and Albertyn are out of the picture, trying to make a move on LaRocco in 5th place.
Talked to Ward after practice. He's made some changes in the motorcycle, trying to get the bike to ride a little different. Not so low in the front, says he feels a lot more comfortable, but still needs to get a better start. Having to come from behind with the talent this year doesn't work as good as years past.
Team Kawasaki in a Yamaha sandwich right now in 2nd place.
Loved watching the second practice session. Jeremy jumped out there and started going hard right away. Button jumped in right behind him, and for an entire lap and a half, they were side by side everywhere on the racetrack. Trying to do that again.
Jimmy Button, David, looking strong in the heat race last week in Phoenix, is coming up on a lapper right now with Hughes and McGrath tightly spaced. Windham's losing some ground to them. Ryan Hughes goes down. He went down in the corner. Looked like he took it a little tight and got hooked up on the tub box.
Yep, a little bit too tight, leaning to that inside, and hay bale was in the way. So now you got Chaparral looking good.
4 laps to go. Button and McGrath, Windham in 3rd, and LaRocco in 4th. So how quickly things can change.
It's unbelievable how fast it changed in the first heat. All that momentum coming through there, Lusk going down, taking everyone with him.
Here are teammates, great friends. But when it gets on the track, Jimmy Button wants to hold his line. It'll be a clean pass if there's one to be made.
It's going to be tough. Jeremy all day has been so aggressive.
Here comes McGrath, testing to the outside.
Trying to get a little creative there and square across that corner. All the riders have been trying to do that. Haven't been able to pull it off.
I'll never forget when McGrath was with Honda, and Doug Henry surprised everyone, not giving him the space and taking the heat race. And I can't remember exactly where that was, but the jaws dropped and the eyelashes went up. Here's Jimmy Button, our leader now. It'll be a white flag, maybe? No, not yet. 3 laps to go.
I think Jeremy's having fun either way. If Button beats him in this heat race.
2 laps to go, by correction. Here's bar-to-bar. The fans are standing on their feet at the straightaway. McGrath to the inside. Oh, and good power for Button. Oh, my goodness. What a commercial for Chaparral. Jeremy McGrath taking the lead in the heat race, and Button eases off after the pass.
Now he worked for that. Jeremy inside, outside, trying everything. And Ryan Hughes having a lot of trouble going down before the starting line corner. He's up, but he went down hard. Jeremy looking so aggressive out there in practice that most of the people cruising around the pit seem to have the feeling that McGrath is going to win tonight.
This is a real bad break for Ryan Huffman as we take a look at him trying to restart the machine. I should say Ryan Hughes, because gosh, he's been so hurt. He came into this race with an air of confidence because the doctors told him he couldn't injure his back any further to go ahead and race. LaRocco is down, and it's the final lap.
There you get a shot of LaRocco. This track is treacherous. That's the whoop section that claimed 3 guys in the first heat race.
So once again, the order changes. Larry Ward has all of a sudden taken over 4th place on the final lap.
McGrath starting to play up to the crowd a little bit, feeling it tonight.
Jeremy McGrath looking for his 3rd heat win in a row.
You see the bike squirrel right there a little bit, trying to get into that rut to do the triple. Not very many guys going for that. It's going to get harder.
McGrath, the checkers! So a confidence builder for McGrath, as well as Jimmy Button as he comes across in 2nd place. A word from Jeremy in a moment. It was a battle of chaparrals, David Bailey.
And McGrath working his teammate hard, trying to steal the line away, but doing it polite, making it stick.
Jeremy McGrath and Jimmy Button, 1 and 2 out of our qualifying heat, with Kevin Windham and Larry Ward inheriting, really, qualifying spots as we saw people drop like flies, Davey Coombs.
Yeah, you know what? The one guy, though, did make a mistake out there is Jeremy McGrath. Jeremy, congratulations to you and the Chaparral Yamaha. 3 heat race wins in a row. What's that do for your confidence?
Well, that one was definitely good for my confidence. I didn't get such a good start. I started like 4th or 5th, and I kind of hit my ground and went off the track over there. But I came from behind, and that was good.
What about dicing with your teammate, Jimmy Button? You guys are friends, you're roommates, all that. Any kind of holding back on that, or are you just going to drill that guy if you have to?
Well, there was a few times out there where I could have really put it to him, you know, and I didn't. I kind of, on that one pass, I drove it in a little bit deep and just showed him where I was. I don't think I'd take Jimmy off the track unless it was a must-do circumstance.
Finally, did you watch the first heat race with Doug Henry winning and Ezra Lusk not even qualifying?
Yeah, Ezra had a little bit of bad luck out there, fell down. Doug was riding really well. I need to get a little bit better start. I kind of got a little late on the start, and if I get a little better start, it'll be good.
That's right. Taking a look at the 1998 AMA Supercross schedule coming up. We're heading south to San Diego next week, and then it's up north to Indianapolis, to the Olympic City, Atlanta, Georgia. Then we head to Florida on the 28th, Tampa, and then on to Daytona on the 7th. It's over to New Orleans. Thank goodness they're back on the schedule. We go to the Superdome there as it's a string of domes from then. New Orleans, Minneapolis, St. Louis, and Pontiac before the Charlotte Motor Speedway, then on to Texas Stadium for the second to the last race of the season, then the finale in Las Vegas, Nevada. Art Ekman, David Bailey out of the 2 qualifying heats. We have an incredible list of superstars on their way to the semifinal round. Guys like Lawrence and Button, who aren't accustomed, I don't think, of going directly from the qualifying heats into the main event. They're stirring up the waters here, David.
Well, that's going to change their approach to the main, too. They're used to having that extra race in there, and so it's going to be more important for them to warm up properly after sitting around for so long. Really impressed with Henry on that 4-stroke. After winning here last year, I said in the heat race, wouldn't it be something if he was able to come and back that up, but doing it on a 4-stroke.
Jeremy McGrath looking in top form as his teammate Jimmy Button. That was a great second heat. As we go down to the stadium floor, Davey Coombs. How are things going with that track, Davey?
Well, it's starting to get a little more rutted out. They try to put some key lime down, kind of dry out some of the dirt. It's always a problem in Seattle, but I personally think that's what makes Seattle a good race. It's not follow the leader. The track gets chewed up, and I think in the heat, or rather in the semi-races, with all those good guys, we're going to see some really good racing.
Ezra Lusk, Damon Huffman, Mike LaRocco. We got a slug of them coming up. Still haven't made the main event. We'll be right back in a moment. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs from the Kingdome in Seattle as we get set for our first semifinal round. All kinds of big names in as we take a look at the Suzuki track map.
Well, Art, I keep thinking the start is longer each week, and this week it seems to be even longer yet with a great big first turn. Lets these guys really string through there, then into one of the most interesting whoop sections we've seen so far this year. Begins with a double and a lot of odd timing through there. The guys are doing it completely different. In the first triple, rhythm section across the starting line, another triple. A lot of tricky stuff leading up to that finish line jump, including a whoop section and a huge finish line jump. After that, a long straightaway back into that wide first corner. Lets the guys really get out of second gear and let these things unwind.
The 32nd board has been up now for some time. Mickael Pichon from Team Suzuki, Ezra Lusk, his first semifinal of the year. Lance Smale, who was on a 4-stroke here last year. The crowd went crazy. He almost qualified. Almost became the first 4-stroke to qualify for a Supercross race. Third in the LCQ. Damon Huffman is also there. Timmy Ferry, Robbie Staggs, and we are off for semifinal number 1. Number 16, Mickael Pichon to the inside. Tim Ferry, number 22. Number 3 to the outside is Ezra Lusk. Lusk making sure of things here, trying to take the lead immediately away from Timmy Ferry.
Ferry had an opportunity to go in there and just take that line away from Lusk, but decided, you know, why mix things up? Lusk isn't that easy to push around.
So Ezra Lusk and Ferry on the Nolene Yamaha. Right behind him, and Mickael Pichon with Damon Huffman. The top 5, remember, go to the main event out of this semifinal round. The guy on the bubble is Ryan Terlecki.
Ezra Lusk, no doubt, be a little bit more careful in this race. And in that first one.
And Timmy Ferry to the inside. Tim Ferry moves into the lead on Ezra Lusk.
That's the section where Lusk encountered his problems getting together with Emig. maybe being a little bit too cautious, allowing Ferry to get around.
5 laps to go here in the semifinal round, and each semifinal is 6 laps long.
Watch Lusk's timing through this whoop section. He jumps all those bumps.
Oh, my goodness. 3 hippity hops, and Ezra Lusk retakes the lead.
Looks over at Ferry like, okay, that's how you go through there fast. Ferry will learn, riding good in all these qualifiers, getting a lot of experience in his first year on 250.
Pretty well defined right now, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. 5th might be the only one undecided, but anything can happen, as we found out in the heat races. Riders will go down on this track. Ferry almost jumped off the track, getting, I think, ticked behind by Pichon. Pichon moving into 2nd place. So it's Ezra Lusk, Mickael Pichon out of France, Tim Ferry battling it out with Huffman for 3rd.
Well, since practice, as Huffman puts a beautiful block pass on Ferry. Ferry getting just swallowed up by the 3 favorites in this semi, but he's still in a good qualifying position to the main event. That's what's most important. Get to the main and then get your experience.
Ezra Lusk is really pleased with his results so far, but he told us there is still a lot to learn on his climb up the hill.
Well, I've always thought I had really good Supercross skills, but it just kind of, there's a lot of little stuff that you have to put together to make, you know, the step that I've made. I've gotten 2/3 in the past 2 years, but it's still a bigger step to go to number 1. And, you know, that's I can see it's going to be a long road, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to have to learn this year as I go. But I'm really ready, and I'm really, really willing to do what I have to do.
It's Ezra Lusk, still way out in front. The race to the checkers in our first semifinal when we get back. It's Lusk, Pichon, Huffman, the top 3 in our semifinal round with Ferry and Terlecki.
Watch the timing of Damon Huffman, number 15. You see him just to the left. He jumps into that whoop section. He's got great timing through there. Anytime you can hop a lot of those bumps like that, just take 2 or 3 hops. Saves a lot of energy. The track is so much different for these guys in the semi now. It's been beat up. The soft soil here changes every lap.
Our Suzuki Field summary, you see it there, is the order of things. Top 5, whoa, going down is Pichon.
Got on the gas a little too early right there. The back wheel wasn't quite into that rut. Spun right out over the top. Only drops a couple of positions.
And he goes down again.
I was about to say, he still looks good getting into the main, but not now. Watch Pichon, number 16 in the yellow. That back wheel just not quite in the rut. He got on the gas just a little too early, getting over that little hump, washed right out. And then he went down again. Concentration. Once you go down like that, it's so hard to get it back.
Trying to get up before he had a good opportunity, so it is now Lusk, Huffman, and Ferry.
Lusk taking his time to get the track dialed in. You got to go to the semi. You might as well make it work for you. Probably make a couple little changes to the bike. I don't think he's too worried about his fitness. I know this guy's in great shape. Everyone I've talked to, I talked to Johnny O'Mara, who's training with him, Jeff Stanton. They all have a lot of confidence in his ability. And whoa, Ryder blowing away the hay bale there. But Ezra got a lot of confidence being able to go 20 laps as hard as he can. And I look back to last week, him catching Jeremy. I think fitness may have made a big difference there.
Ezra's got another look at the track here, having to go to the semifinal round as we take a look at Damon Huffman in 2nd place. Ferry's in 3rd. Smale and Terlecki 4th and 5th. Now, Smale is from Federal Way of Washington. Terlecki is also from the Pacific Northwest. It is the final lap for Ezra Lusk.
See Huffman, great timing through that section. These guys are getting a little advantage from the guys from the heat race. Being able to hop through that section. The whoop sections this year are really making a difference. Everyone's able to get over the obstacles pretty much the same, but the whoop sections are really separating these guys, and they're getting some extra time on the track right now.
Huffman is being very careful. I think he'd like to pass Lusk, but he's picking his spot. Here comes Huffman. Huffman to the inside. Can he get around Ezra Lusk in the final few turns? Lusk with good positioning. 56,018 fans as here comes Damon Huffman through the whoops. Goes to the outside. He cuts in. Huffman the winner. Oh, my goodness gracious. Ezra Lusk A close second in our semifinal round. The crowd coming alive as two Pacific West favorites will also qualify the top 5 out of our semifinals, and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back as we take a look at the pass and the finish of our semifinal round, and from that angle it tells a little bit different story. A photo finish, and the AMA says Ezra Lusk has taken the inch-by-inch advantage here in this first semifinal. Right there, Ezra Lusk, you see him. That's the angle we originally had. The other angle looked more like Ezra Lusk as we go now to Davey Coombs. Davey.
Okay, guys, that was a photo finish. Yogi, did you think you had it?
Well, I didn't know. I guess, you know, I really didn't know anyone was that close to me. I wasn't really looking back, and I was kind of looking at some different lines, and he snuck up on me. I was quite surprised.
All right, well, tell us about this. Did you see anything new that you can use in the final?
Yeah, the last lap and the lap I just rode around a little bit and looked at the track. I see some things that might help me out.
All right. Well, I know that you usually transfer directly. Do you think that that was a good thing tonight? We've had Jeff Emig not qualifying directly. He says it helps him. Did that help you tonight?
Tonight, I think it definitely did because of all the ruts. I just, you know, I was looking around a lot, and I wasn't really going real fast, checking to make fast laps. I was just looking a lot.
So that was really something after Ezra Lusk and Huffman duel. Pichon was able to get back in the picture and make the transfer in the main as Smale fell down on the final lap. So anything can happen as we take a close look at Ryan Hughes. Here's Mike LaRocco, number 5, along with Greg Albertyn. Heath Voss made the main last week for the first time this season. He's trying again. Jean-Sebastian Roy, Atsuda from Japan, Keokera from Japan, Blinkley, Rourke, Squires, Papworth, Foster, Highland, Gage, Brown, Mike Brown, and Ty Birdwell also in this. There's Mike Brown, number 100.
All the way to the inside. Albertyn over there right next to the booth.
We're set to go for our second semifinal. They're off. Look at Voss to the outside, number 47, but Ryan Hughes has the inside mark, number 10, along with Mike Brown. Mike Brown, number 100. But it's Voss. Oh, he takes a little stumble right in front of Albertyn. He'll hold Albie up. Out in front, it is Ryan Hughes. Can he hold on?
Well, I hope so. He's going to have to settle down a little bit from the way he looked in the heat race, going down a couple of times. He shouldn't have too much pressure here right in the early going. Albertyn's right there in third now. If he gets around, he'll apply plenty of pressure.
And it's Brown in 4th. The top 5 making it into the main event.
The guys are going so close to the edge of the jumps to try to get a good clean line up the face. They're starting to hit the hay bales.
Jean-Sebastian Roy is in 5th, David, as we see them come through the whoops. Voss, 46. Albie, Michael Brown, number 100. Brown back in the U.S. after going a year at GPs in Europe last season.
Voss, just a factory sandwich. Drifts a little bit wide, allows Albertyn to get through.
Albie having a little trouble in the qualifying with that whoop section.
And Brown stuffing him right there in the corner.
And hitting the deck was Jean-Sebastian Roy, coming out of the corkscrew, out of that small jumping whoop section. So it's Ryan Hughes in front, with Greg Albertyn in 2nd, Michael Brown in 3rd.
Albertyn doing a good job of getting all the way over that little looped out section. It's an interesting obstacle. I haven't seen that before, but jumps all the way over the whole thing. That's one way to eliminate having to deal with the ruts in the face of the jump. Jump the whole thing.
Takashi Koikita is now in 5th place, the final transfer to the main. We'll see if he can hold on when we return to the Kingdome. Here we go. The battle for 1st and 2nd and 3rd is on. They're making a semifinal round look like a main event. Ryan Hughes, number 10. There's Brown. He goes into 2nd. Getting in front of Greg Albertyn, who's had a very slow start to the season this year. Voss is still in 3rd. Mike LaRocco has moved into 5th.
LaRocco having to come from behind, but he's doing a good job of it. Really, he's on the pace of the leaders, these guys. But Hughes is starting to make a couple of mistakes out there. He just has to let Brown tuck underneath him. I don't think he can fight him. Not from the outside. And I think the way Hughes is looking, Looks okay for a couple of laps, then he starts to make mistakes. Usually that means arm pump. These soft conditions where the bike just, every time you let off the throttle, it's all that soft soil just soaks up your speed. Of course, all the root sections are a little bit tougher. Makes you ride more tense. You hold on tighter, and that pumps your arms.
Here comes Hughes. Got the angle for the black pass. And Michael Brown will try to sneak to the inside. No, he follows Hughes.
Well, Hughes closed the door as he entered that corner. He moved all the way over, cut off the line.
And so now it's a battle for second with Albie and Michael Brown, both going at it. Hey, somebody could go to the LCQ if they tangle here.
Now, these guys are close. Albie's just rubbing elbows with Brown. Set up a beautiful move for that pass.
It has been so competitive during our qualifying rounds this year. Some of the greatest racing we've seen during the qualifying. Michael Brown still battling for second. Albertyn has the edge, but Brown puts on the speed. Oh, did a block pass in that corner before the finish line jump with 2 laps to go. So it's Ryan Hughes, Michael Brown, number 100, Greg Albertyn, number 7. Voss is in 4th with Mike LaRocco in 5th. Now, doesn't it surprise you a bit that Mike LaRocco, who's now making a move into 4th, isn't up with the leaders?
Well, he's actually staying even with them and even gaining a little bit here and there. So he's on the pace, but the start made the difference. I think he was able to get around Voss here pretty quick. You see him close on Albertyn for 3rd.
Ryan Hughes, mechanic Ron Woods, putting out the sign as number 100. We see him there, Michael Brown behind Ryan. This would be a good shot in the arm for Ryan Hughes, who's had such a painful comeback to a back injury in practice.
Well, it would definitely feel good for him to win this thing, but still don't know if he'd be really happy with his ride.
White flag lap, semifinal.
The section he's coming into here, he's been having a lot of problems with. As soon as he jumps this double, he has trouble right through here. That time he gets there good, but he's been sticking the front end into a deep bump, almost going over the handlebars the last 3 laps in a row. That time, got to figure it out.
On the final lap, does Mike Brown have anything left to catch up with Ryan Hughes? Can Ryan Hughes hold on? Albertyn's in 3rd. Now in 4th.
Now, mechanic letting him know, don't slow down. You've got somebody right there wanting it bad. Just like we saw in the first heat, Lusk slowed down a little bit too much, looking at the track. Didn't take Huffman seriously. Ryan needs to know he's back there, charged all the way to the end. This win will help him with a better gate pick as well.
So the top 3 very well defined. Voss and LaRocco still rounding out the top 5. The checkers for Hughes. A welcome sight for this gutsy, tough young man. So Davey Coombs should have an interesting interview with Ryan Hughes, number 10. Plus, all kinds of action coming up from the Kingdome in Seattle. 5 more riders transferring to the main event. Ryan Hughes, a valiant effort. Mike Brown in 2nd. Albertyn. Heath Voss doing a very good job getting into the main event. And Mike LaRocco just hanging on for 5th place as far as we could see. Let's go down to Davey now with a very happy Ryan Hughes.
All right, happy, but a little fatigued too. Rhino, that looked like a lot of hard work out there.
It wasn't hard work. I think I'm fighting the bike a little bit, fighting the ruts. First heat race, I crashed a couple times, and it kind of pissed me off. And I went out the last time and told my mechanic that I was going to win, and I was determined to win. I made a few mistakes out there, but I think we're going to make a couple changes on the bike, and it should be good for the main event.
What about Mike Brown? You guys had a little bit of contact out there.
Yeah, it seems pretty normal between us two. We're both real aggressive riders. We both want to win, and that's racing, and that's what makes me come out every weekend is close racing like that.
All right, we'll let you get back to the pits and get ready for the main, Rhino.
Thanks a lot.
Our next telecast, fans, round number 5 from San Diego, and that will be played on ESPN2 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 out west on Friday, the 13th. Up in the press box, we have with us Lila McCann, who has been rated as one of the top 10 country artists to look at, newcomer-wise, this coming year. And Lila, you're only 16 from Seattle, Washington, and a lot of notoriety and everything. Is it now getting difficult to handle?
You know, I'm still going to school, and it's getting a little bit difficult, but I'm having so much fun, and things are going wonderful, so I'm having a great time.
And she can identify with the riders as well, sports fans, because you just got the cast off your arm. Huh?
I just broke my arm a few months ago, and I got my cast off, and I can move it now, so it feels a lot better, but yeah.
You enjoying yourself here tonight?
I'm having a lot of fun. I've never been to anything like this before, and to sing it, this was a real honor. It was great.
16, now you can date. Dad said you can go ahead and go. You got some pretty good-looking riders out there.
Oh, there's plenty out there, let me tell you.
What about the future now? I hear you got a new CD that you're working very hard on.
We just cut 4 new songs for the new CD, which will probably be out around November. It'll be a little bit before we do it, so.
And we've certainly enjoyed the 2 hits that I've heard anyway that are already out. That must have been a real thrill to have them take off for you.
You know, actually, my newest single, I Want to Fall in Love, just hit #1 yesterday in Gavin, and we were so excited. We were jumping up and down and everything like that, so it was cool.
16, and you want to fall in love.
Yeah, really.
Congratulations on your success, Lila, and thanks for dropping by. We'll be right back with more Supercross action from the Kingdome in Seattle after these words. The 250 main from the Seattle Kingdome is underway. Lamps in a good start, #4. Does he pick up the $1,000? It's close. Michael Craig, number 15. Jeremy McGrath is right there. Ezra Lusk, number 11. Back and forth we go, bar to bar. Over the Thor triple. Oh, good acceleration on the outside. And now here's Lusk on the inside.
Craig cuts back to the inside. If he can do the triple. Lusk looks over at him, shuts the door. He's staying close. Like I said, you're going to have to play it cool. Lusk is down.
Lusk went down. And Larry Ward, the crowd erupts. Larry Ward has taken over the lead, but hot on his trail is Doug Henry. Larry Ward, bar to bar. Doug Henry, the checkered flag for Doug Henry. He becomes the first 2-time winner of the 1997 season. Well, the talk in the pits prior to race time was Doug Henry. Welcome back to the Kingdome. While we were away, Federal Way, Washington, product Lance Smale, number 77, and Tony Amoradio, number 34, take the 2 top positions in the last chance qualifier, and that caps the 250 field. 20 riders in all, ready to go at it. Number 934, David Vuillemin out of France. As we take a look at the 125 West parade lap before their main event, a new development now in the points chase. The Indonesian Grand Prix was canceled, so he will fly back and forth for the final 2 125 West Supercross races and still fulfill his obligation in the 125 GP series. It puts a total new light on the points chase between Vuillemin and John Dowd. As we take a look at the Suzuki points chase, Dowd by only 3. Roncada is 9 back. Pingree, Brandis rounding out the top 5 with Schnell, Ramsey knocking on the door after that. You know, when you think of where Supercross riders come from, it's always California, Florida, the farmlands of the Midwest, now even France. But you don't think of the Pacific Northwest. There are 2 125 West riders coming back home for the first time as members of factory support teams. It hasn't been an easy road, but it's been a fun ride for Ryan Huffman and Jason McCormick.
I got all my guest passes used up, and then my family, 40 seats I think they got from AMA, and got that all worked out. And then just the whole Pacific Northwest thing, and see everybody. And that I haven't seen in like 5 months now, and I miss it so much, you know. But you know, this is what we have to do, and to come back home and see everybody, it's the best. I had a bad weekend last weekend. I'm pretty hurt, but this week, you know, I was able to still get out and ride and train just because I knew, you know, it's a big race, and got to, you know, show everybody up here I can do good.
Bad weather and travel puts the damper on most Pacific Northwest riders.
It's not as easy as everybody in California, Florida, where they have all the good weather when it comes to all the winter, especially when you get into the pro level, because it's, you know, I never had a Supercross track to practice on because of the weather. You know, the competition up here has never been like it is down there. It kind of can hold you back, you know, and we've always had to travel a lot. We go to California a lot.
For 2 longtime friends to get factory support rides in the same year was exciting.
we're both excited. You know, this was a dream of ours that we've always discussed, and to be, you know, riding for a team. But our dream is to always be on the same team, and we're there, but not all the way there yet.
Two young riders from the Pacific Northwest anxious to make their mark in front of the hometown friends and family. Nathan Ramsey, David Vuillemin, as we see the Suzuki starting grid. We'll go down the entire list of those who made it into the main event for the 125s. And the way Vuillemin was running in practice today, David Bailey, he looked impeccable.
Well, I was talking to some people. I didn't get a split on him, but he was the same lap times a couple of times in the early running of his practice session as the 250s. And that is really going out there because that's about 3 seconds faster than anyone else. And on the parade lap just now, once again, like last week in Phoenix, like Davey Coombs said, he won the parade lap. He lightened it up, dazzling the fans on both triples, a no-footer cross-up off the finish line jump, a front wheel wheelie. The guy's just going crazy.
Here's our past winners. Vuillemin winning this race last year. Windham the year before, Huffman, Hughes, Phil Lawrence back in 1993 when he was a Team Suzuki rider. They're at the gate ready to go. Vuillemin actually raced here in Seattle in 1996. He took a 10th. He did 3 races in 96. Got a 4th in Anaheim. Should have been a sign of things to come, don't you think? A 10th here and then a 5th in San Diego. Then he turned around so that nothing could be said to be negative in a mood there. Came back and won the race after the 10th place finish the following year. Davey?
Yeah, you know, you guys are talking about how good David Vuillemin's doing. Well, I heard a bizarre rumor. The guys at Team Honda are already looking at this guy to possibly bring him over in 99. That's a pretty impressive compliment at this point in the year.
I would think with Ricky Carmichael 1 more year on his contract, they'd also be looking that direction, David Bailey.
Well, if Honda got both those guys and kept Lusk on with the ball he's got rolling, they would have an awesome team. It almost doesn't even sound fair.
Okay, they're at the gate in sideways. We're almost ready to go for the 125 main. And they're off. Oh, what a charge. 28 is Huffman, the local boy. Ryan Huffman has got the whole shot. Matiasevich, 111, is right there alongside.
Pretty good start for Vuillemin on the inside, working his way into third.
Craig Schnell's number 85. He's had success here in the past. Number 18 is Stephane Roncada, currently in 5th. But Vuillemin is in 3rd and looking as smooth as ice. He'll pick his spot.
It's going to be a lot of hard work for Ramsey and John Dowd and McCormick. They're all right around 10th spot. They've got to stay glued to Vuillemin because I have a feeling he's going to the front.
Ryan Huffman winning the whole shot money. And Matiasevich, John Matiasevich, an interesting story coming back into 125 action. He dominated 2 years here in Seattle when they used to run double headers, David Bailey, winning 4 races in 2 events.
An awesome 125 rider, great timing, always done well in Supercross, led the 250 series for a long time.
Vuillemin almost boxed out by the 2, but cuts inside of Matiasevich. Vuillemin looks back.
Well, Matiasevich got so preoccupied with the leader, he left the door wide open for Vuillemin, and there it goes again.
1 lap, Vuillemin now is in the lead, and he is very, very difficult to hold back.
Once he gets in the lead, it just gets bigger and bigger.
Stephane Roncada in 4th, behind Ryan Huffman and John Matiasevich. Jeff Matiasevich, number 111.
Matiasevich can hang with Vuillemin a little bit right here. That'd be a big boost for his confidence. Try to learn a little bit, see the timing that Vuillemin has through these loop sections and his corner speed. He gets on the gas so early. There you get Roncada over the finish line jump.
Roncada moving in front of Huffman. So it's Vuillemin, Matiasevich, Roncada, Huffman.
Beautiful timing.
And then McCormick passing Huffman.
Roncada starting to time these whoopie-doos like the 250s. If he doesn't make the pass on Matiasevich before they get back to that section again, I would expect him to make it there.
When Larry Ward won his one and only Supercross here in 1990, guess who was in 2nd place in that race?
That was a great battle, but I don't even know if that was a battle. That was more like a fight. They were blocking each other so bad.
Jeff Matiasevich and Larry Ward. It was a true battle. Right now, Chicken is trying to hold on to second place because McCormick, who's very fast but has had crash problems, is right behind him.
Boy, if McCormick can stay upright. Well, he does a good job to get around that move by Roncada. Roncada getting on the inside. Didn't leave him much room. McCormick filed his way through. Now, this is where Roncada had a great line.
David Vuillemin is already 6 seconds ahead. Here comes number 32, McCormick, in front of Matiasevich. He brings the Washingtonians out of their seats.
Matiasevich struggling through that section. He's good everywhere else. Really struggling through there. Vuillemin is just gone. Now that McCormick's worked his way into second, you can see up the track ahead of him all the way across the starting line into that next left. No sign of Vuillemin.
Here comes Chicken. Chicken comes right back, trying to hold on to third.
Well, McCormick is, I think right now, running the same pace as the leader.
So
not going to catch him at that pace, but he's definitely going to pull away from this battle.
It's Vuillemin, McCormick, Matiasevich, Roncada, and Pingree has moved into the top 5. So time is running down. The checkers will be waving. We'll be right back here to the Kingdome in a moment.
AMA Supercross is being brought to you by Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. Quality training for the motorcycle industry.
Welcome back to the Kingdome in Seattle. Oh, look at that! Matiasevich was slammed in the corner.
He's holding his knee, too. When he got together, I think he twisted his knee. He looks like he's in pain.
Let's take another look. Jeff Matiasevich, 111, Roncada number 18, and just kicked him.
Well, Roncada got in there to make the pass. He was just trying to make a clean block pass, but it looked to me like hook peg or something may have hooked Matiasevich's knee, causing him to go down. He's definitely out for the race. That's 2 weeks in a row. What a bad break. Jeff's starting to ride better. Phoenix going down on the triple, and here
he was just starting to get into shape, handling the 125s after riding 250s for a long time. And a really difficult emotional break now for Jeff Matiasevich. We just hope it's a twist or something like that.
You see, looks like he's going to try to restart, but as he sat down on the bike, that left leg was just shaking. And Dowd is starting to work his way up.
Here's Vuillemin, number 934.
Take a look at this guy. Just moves around on the bike so much.
Take him around, David.
Beautiful corner speed over that, nice and clean. Watch him through the whoops. Tries to time these. He'll jump. That section is starting to get rutted out a little bit. He's trying to stay on the top. The section coming up, he's beautiful. After he comes around, this is where the first corner enters the track. Jumps through there, jumps again. Little bobble right there. It's hard to keep his balance, but he's been getting through that section faster than anybody I've seen all night, even on the 250s. The guy's timing and his ability to seek new lines in the middle of the race, which is hard to do. You usually get your favorite line, and it's hard to deviate from that. This guy is able to adjust mid-race.
You know, last week, David Vuillemin was doing something few other, if any, riders were doing. He was jumping the whoops instead of skipping on top of them, similar to what he's doing here today.
You know, in Europe, the whoops are bigger, so it's more difficult to hit the top of the hoops. So we jump in 125 by 3, sometimes by 4. So it's why in Phoenix, it was a bigger hoops than in LA or in Houston. So it's why I jump by 3-3 and 1 time 4. And me, I prefer to jump because I had experience to jump.
As Vuillemin has a 7-second lead, we're looking at the battle for 5th. Ramsey and Dowd. Nathan Ramsey, who surprised a lot of people by winning the heat race. We knew he was fast, but he was having trouble staying up on 2 wheels this year. Won the heat race to qualify for this main event, and John Dowd is now on the hunt. Let's go to Davey.
You know, I've been talking to a lot of people down here at the pits. They're trying to find out what is wrong with John Dowd. This is not what Yamaha had in mind, having John right around 5th or 6th. Some people say it might have been the last-minute change from the East region to the West region. He might not have been ready to start racing in January, guys.
That's a good point, Davey. Kind of get in your head what you need to be doing, where your fitness ought to be. Perfect example of that is Emig. He doesn't really plan on being tip-top until mid-season. And John Dowd, a little bit of a slow starter as it is. Maybe because of this change, even a little slower than that.
McCormick out of the Pacific Northwest, desperately trying to hold on to second place. Here comes Nathan Ramsey to the outside, but McCormick. And Ramsey's got his hands full with Dowd, so we've got a 1-2-3 train now for second place.
Great battle. John Dowd looks like he's faster than both these guys. Just unable to get around.
Let's go down to Davey Coombs, who right now is with Dowd's mechanic.
Brian, what do you think's wrong with John? He looks like he's having problems making some progress.
Yeah, you got good riders out there. He's trying. It's hard to make a move right now. The track's a little bit one line. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
I think actually as the track gets more rutted, it's a little bit easier to pass. It always was when I was racing on a rutted track because the guys in front of you have to make a commitment. They don't have a smooth surface where they can go anywhere, and it's harder to predict what they're going to do and counter their moves.
You see a lot of riders in the shot. It's Vuillemin in first, McCormick in second, still holding on. Stephane Roncada, the Frenchman, in third, and Pingree and Ramsey are going at it for fourth. Pingree, FMF, Ramsey on the Kawasaki Pro Circuit, and John Dowd is number 9 behind Ramsey.
I think what's harder, Brian Barry may be talking about, is he's not just trying to pass one guy, which he does. He gets Ramsey right there on the inside, but he's trying to pass two guys. A lot different story. Looks like he's going to get it done.
Dowd getting around Pingree with a nice move finally. So when we come back, we'll find out if Dowdy can hold that position. Welcome back to the Kingdome. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs, as we're taking a look at the future superstars of this sport in the 125 West right here at the Kingdome, and it is Vuillemin 8 seconds out in front. Vuillemin is already into the whoops on this side. You're seeing Pingree, number 29, who had just moved back to 5th position, battling with Ramsey in 6th. So it's Vuillemin, McCormick, Roncada, Dowd, Pingree, and Ramsey. That is our top 6 order.
Well, this is where the battle is. The guys out front, pretty strung out, are running a fast pace. McCormick looks to me like he's a little bit on the edge trying to catch Vuillemin. Over the triple, Pingree getting harder and harder to do. Those ruts are getting deeper. The front face of these jumps looks like a comb as you head up. And when you land, you got to land in another rut. The balance it takes is just unbelievable. Here's our leader, Vuillemin, through the whoops up to the finish line.
It seems like this track, David Bailey, is perfect for his style. He likes ruts. He doesn't steer away from them. He can time the jumps and the whoops so beautifully.
He seems to like the hard pack, too, like last week. So I don't know if this guy has a weakness.
Here's our Honda stopwatch. Let's check out the interval now and see what his lead might be over the second place rider. It's about 8 seconds.
And it hasn't changed too much, and Roncada's starting to close that gap. Make it a race for second. John Dowd about 14, 15 seconds back. John comes on strong at the end, though.
Vuillemin simply dominating this 125 Western scene. He's led 29 of the 45 laps coming into this race. And winning 2 of the 3 last. Roncada and McCormick. It's Roncada now moving into second over the native favorite here in the state of Washington. 3 laps to go. And McCormick hold on to a podium position. Here's our leader.
Watch him through here. We'll get a lap time on him. Hopping through those whoops. Under a minute. Unbelievable. 57 seconds is what the 250s have been running.
And we reiterate, the schedule looks like he will be able now to attend all of the 125 Western events. So he is definitely going to stick around for a points race. It does not conflict now with his GP schedule in Europe or around the world. Here's Stephane Roncada. He's dedicated himself to American Supercross.
Well, these guys are really coming over here and making a statement. The French want to do so well in the United States. They want to get out from underneath that image that Bale had when he's here. All of them very friendly, trying so hard to make a statement. They come over here, learn our language, and now they're starting to take all the spots on the podium, too. Roncada riding a fantastic race, making the move on McCormick just a lap ago.
You know, you get the thought that if Roncada got a decent start, he'd be right up there with Vuillemin.
I think so, but actually the start wasn't too bad. But in that first couple of laps, Vuillemin is so sharp. He's able to make moves, much like we used to see Jeremy do. If he didn't get the best start, he still made those first couple of laps really count.
McCormick trying to hold on. There goes Dowdy. And Dowd moving in front of McCormick now, sending McCormick back to fourth.
I think what happened, Art, was McCormick got right into second. You could see he was riding so aggressive, tried to stay with Vuillemin and burned himself out a little bit. But I admire that. He put it all on the line. He gave it everything he had. And so now he knows that maybe he needs to be a little bit more fit.
Down in the final 2 laps, and McCormick still can get his best finish of the year. He finished 5th in Los Angeles. We're down to the final lap now, as Vuillemin already hustled over the finish line jump while we were speaking.
Just on the opposite side of that straightaway, you see the flags go out. Danny Smith going down off the triple.
Here comes Vuillemin.
He'll be
they
forced
get the bike out of the way just in time. They wouldn't let him jump the triple. They got the red cross flag out. That means no jumping with a rider in danger. Vuillemin, though, he's got so far, so much of a lead. Good job, baby. It's not in French.
There's still a chance. John Dowd battling with McCormick. That pace has really picked up. They're closing on Roncada. See Roncada just ahead. They're closing fast.
Vuillemin's mechanic is Wayne Smith, incidentally, his American mechanic. He has another mechanic when he goes to Europe. 9:34. The checkers again. The 3rd straight victory for Vuillemin. His 4th career victory, winning here in Seattle last year. And Yamaha has 3 consecutive 125 wins in Seattle. Vuillemin, Roncada, Dowd, McCormick. A terrific 4th place finish. And Pingree rounding out the top 5. We will be right back to the Kingdome with more words from the Frenchman learning English. Here's how the 125s finished up here in the 125 West in the Seattle Kingdome. Vuillemin, his 3rd consecutive victory. Stephane Roncada, another podium appearance for the young Frenchman as well. John Dowd in 3rd place. Jason McCormick in 4th. And David Pingree moving up to 5th. And as we look at the official top 10 125 finishers, Davey Combs is moving over to that podium to get the words of wisdom from the one of 2 Frenchmen, David Vuillemin.
Okay, thanks, Art. David, congratulations, man. You're just knocking these guys dead here in the States.
Yeah, I did a good start, maybe 3rd, and I come up, and, you know, I passed Matiasevich and Ryan Hoffman in the same lap. So it was easy for me. After I lead about 13 laps, I did not make too much mistake. The track is very hard because a lot of ruts, so I'm happy to don't make mistake and to stay on my 2 wheels, and I will thank Yamaha and FMF for this victory.
You must also be pretty happy with the news that you don't have to go to Indonesia now. You can stay and race for this title.
Yeah, maybe I can wait for this title, but maybe it's maybe a rumor, or I don't know yet, but maybe I will come back for Dallas and Minneapolis and do all the series, and I can take the title, so I'm happy to race all the races.
Okay, well, congratulations, David. Listen, we're going to move over here to the next French guy, and this is our 2nd place finisher. This is Stephane Roncada. Stephane, a good ride, but how are you going to stop Vuillemin?
You know, I had a bad start, I had a good start, and he was in the lead pretty soon, so he could catch some way, you know. And I think I had a good race. I was pretty fast out there, but he was as fast as me. And whenever you have that much of a lead, it's very hard to come back. I mean, if he has done a mistake or something, I would come back, but not right now. It was pretty fast out there.
Hey, are there any more French guys coming over next year? I mean, right now, the way it stands, you guys are laying waste to these guys.
I don't know in the next year that's coming, but I think Thor is coming and is going to do very good here in a couple of years, I think. So start to be a lot of French guys to do good, and we're very happy because it's all our dream to ride good here, so it's really good for us. And I hope we have a lot of fun. That's it.
All right, let's go back to you, Art.
That's it. He knows enough English. Hey, I'm through.
Yep, that's it.
As we take a look now at the Suzuki point standings, the 125 Western Division, Vuillemin taking over the lead in the points race. Only 2 points over John Dowd, and Roncada is right there. Pingree's moving up the ladder as well. Let's go back to Davey.
All right, hey, you know what? We just found out, John, that it sounds like Vuillemin's got the points lead. What are you going to do to get after this guy?
Oh, I don't know. I think I got to start off by getting some better starts, and you know, I can't be letting him get up front like that. And I got kind of stuck in the pack today, and just really got kind of clustered back there, and I didn't have a chance. I mean, them guys, they opened up a lead right off, and you know, I just didn't have a chance out of them.
Well, we know that it was kind of planned that you were going to ride the East, or at least a lot of us thought. Do you think that the sudden jump to the West caught you unprepared?
I don't think so. I think, I mean, all the tracks are pretty similar, you know, on both sides and this and that, so I don't think that really has anything to do with it. I just, I've been a little tight the last few races. I don't know if it's, you know, something to do with the points race in the back of my head or whatever, but I got to try to straighten that out and get back on track.
Well, you know, I think Dowd's been riding great. I mean, tonight, yeah, he needed a better start, but he's been second to Vuillemin and riding great. It's just Vuillemin's just riding a little bit better. Outstanding. This guy probably has a good shot at the podium in a 250 class the way he's riding.
9:34, celebrating his 3rd consecutive victory, taking over the points lead of the 125 West. The main event for the evening, the Superstars kickstart their 250s when we come back to the Kingdome. Getting set for the main event here in the Seattle Kingdome. Art Ekman and David Bailey up in the press box. And out of the qualifying heats, we saw a very fast McGrath. We saw Ezra Lusk go to the semis for the first time to make the main event. It wasn't his fault, of course. But you know, David, could Doug Henry win 2 years in a row, this time on a 4-stroke?
It's very possible, and you can't tell by looking at his face how he's feeling, because he's smiling all the time no matter what. But he is very fast here. He's comfortable in this situation with the ruts. That 4-stroke seems to be working good here. The disadvantage is that it's a little heavier, and it scrubs off some speed in the face of the jumps. It drags the dirt through those ruts. But they took a lot of time here and packed all the faces of the jumps. That's to his favor. The bike has a lot of power on the start. He's got to get out over the gate, get a decent start. I think he can pull it off. His heat race was 1 second faster than McGrath.
Right, 1 second faster, Davey Combs. And I understand Team Honda has made a personnel change.
Yeah, from what we're hearing, Art, it looks like Wes McCoy is no longer at the helm of the Honda team. Now, I'm not sure if this is a permanent thing, but from what I'm hearing, it quite possibly is. Instead, Jeff Stanton, of course, a former 6-time national champion, and Cliff White, a longtime member of the Honda program, are going to kind of take the helm over. I think that Wes is going to be reassigned somewhere else at Honda, but if that's the case, at least he knows he went out a winner with Ezra Lusk last weekend.
Absolutely. As we take a look at the Suzuki point standings, Jeremy McGrath by 4, Lusk 5 in back of Emig, Windham, LaRocco, and Craig in a battle for 4th. Craig just off the list there in 6th place. You know, every rider goes into the season with different ideas or strategies. Now that we're into our 4th race coming up into the 98 campaign, those strategies have been somewhat altered.
It's a situation where I do need a win. I mean, we're 3 in. You know, the 4th race is getting ready to happen. But my strategy for this race is to get the start and be gone. It's got 2 what's going to be long whoop sections, you know, that are going to be extremely rutted. So I think to be up front and to really charge, you know, to really ride hard. And if you can only ride hard for 12 laps or 15 laps or whatever the case may be, you know, really try to put down some speed.
I think strategy's out the window. I need a win. can't be. Last year I came into Seattle in second place in the points, just a couple points out of the lead, and I was looking for a good start and a podium finish. Had a miserable year so far. The only way to turn around is with a win.
I would say my biggest thing that I think about when I'm on the starting line is my start. I mean, lately I've been in the top 2, 3, which has been really good. But if you don't get a good start, it takes way more out of you to catch up. Right now, having a win would be really important, and I figure I'm really, really close. So it's going to happen here shortly.
Nothing's changed for me whatsoever. I'm a lot more confident in what I'm doing now. You know, I kind of going into the season, you second guess a little bit what you're doing, if it's enough or if it's going to be the right quality, you know. It's not always the quantity, but the quality. But I know for sure what I'm doing is right. And if I keep doing it and keep riding like I am, I'm going to be fine.
As the riders get off their parade lap, you see Jimmy Button right next to Jeremy McGrath as we take a look at the Suzuki starting grid and all the riders that will be participating here in the Kingdome in the 250 main event. Can Jimmy Button put on an electrifying performance like he did in the heat race? Ezra Lusk, Damon Huffman, Tim Ferry. So much talent this year to battle each other, David Bailey.
Yeah, I know we're sounding like a broken record, but it's just amazing. I was talking with Phil Lawrence after practice, and he was just saying, you know, I feel like I've been riding good, but my results are just terrible. Can't believe how far down the list I am with the way I've been riding. It's just that way this year. Larry Ward, another guy that was surprised by that, just saying, I don't feel like I've been riding that bad, and I'm so far back.
Jeff Emig talking things over with Jeremy Albrecht.
Well, for once, he gets to go right to the main out of the heat race, so that went well for him. I don't think he rode the way he would like to have ridden, and to tell you the truth, his results have looked pretty good. A second, a third, and a fourth. If you think that's going to continue, that would put him fifth here. He's never won in Seattle, but he definitely needs to get things turned around. He's got his game face.
Things are getting tense down there, Davey, at the gate.
Yeah, I tell you what, and I see something kind of neat here. The three Kawasaki riders, Huffman, Emig, and Hughes, are all lined up together with the champ sandwiched in the middle. And then to the right of those guys, it's the two Chaparral Yamahas. So 1/4 of the starting gate is this little squad of teams here. And, you know, if they start throwing elbows, someone's going to be mad in the trucks later.
Will Lusk make it 3 in a row? Can McGrath outsmart everyone? And on one of his most effective tracks, he has 5 wins here, 3 250s and 2 125 victories in Seattle. Or will Emig win his first race of the season? Will the 4-stroke of Doug Henry win his first race of the year as well? They're off. Our main event from Seattle, Washington is underway. McGrath number 2. Jeremy cuts to the inside. Emig 1 bar to bar. Number 11, Jimmy Button. Oh, look at Button cut in. The teammates, Jimmy Button takes the lead. Incredible. Another commercial for Chaparral with Jeff Emig right there. Emig feels the need for victory tonight.
Oh, Jeremy coming up a little bit short on that double, but he still maintains second place. Larry Ward squirts into third. Boy, this is what he needed, was a great start.
Oh, well, that brings this Washingtonian crowd alive with Larry Ward up in the running. He's had some great runs here in his native land.
There's nothing, no better feeling than to have your best friend or your teammate and friend right behind you and in front of you. This happened with Johnny O'Mara and myself at Honda a number of times in Supercross. Getting out first and second in the race, it helps you relax.
Jimmy Button, number 11. What a year he's having. He feels no pressure with Jeremy McGrath and his teammate. They work out together. He feels he can get the knowledge and the experience from McGrath. And look at this. He's leading the race with Jeremy in second place, Larry Ward in third. They're starting to pull away from the 4-stroke of Doug Henry. Jeff Emig, and going down is Ezra Lusk. Lusk went down in the corner before the timing section. So Ezra is going to have to fight from way back. He's at least 16 positions back.
Art Button is riding fantastic. He's got a couple of lines where he's jumping all the way up over stuff. Jeremy's starting to copy it. There's another great line right there, jumping all the way over that triple. Keeps his momentum around the outside, gets a great run through the whoop-de-doos, and Jeremy's doing everything the same.
Can Jimmy Button hold on for the entire race? his style, his speed is there,
Well,
but endurance-wise.
That's the scary thing. I know the speed's there, but I've seen him up front before and make mistakes. What he's got to do is ride smart. If Jeremy starts to push him hard, which I think is going to happen, he's got to be smart and decide, is second good enough, or should I try to hold him off and risk crashing and finish in 10th?
It's Button, McGrath, Ward, Henry, Emig, and Windham is in 6th place. You heard after the heat race, Jeremy talking about, hey, if I got to hit him, I got to hit him.
Well, I don't think you'll see that unless it's a must situation, and right now they're pulling away. Jeremy will be padding that points lead.
If something should happen to Jeremy, Button would be all clear. That would be his first AMA Series win since '94 at Daytona in a 125 ride.
Now what they have to do is continue to ride like this, just pretend like it's Tuesday, Wednesday, out at the test track, have a good time, relax, build up a big lead, put it out of reach for anybody to catch him late in the race.
As we take a look at a tremendous battle for first place, here's Jeremy McGrath, but Button has the momentum coming back. Brown has moved in front of Emig, pushing Emig back to 6th place. Here's Jeremy McGrath on the run. Jimmy Button, number 11. Button is going to run 125s in the National Outdoors this year, with Jeremy running the 250s for Chaparral. But what a team they've put together.
Jeremy has actually stopped following the lines of Button. He was copying him at first.
Oh, a little fishtail. Jeremy tried to cut it in that time.
Right, Jeremy looks to me like he's getting impatient and he's saying, now's the time. He's starting to change up his lines and make a run at him in every corner.
Here they go. Button still holding on by a tire.
They got to be careful not to start to ride defensive with each other and slow each other down.
Button's getting so much good momentum out of the corners, but now if something happens, and look out, Jeremy was far enough away from him to stay out of trouble. McGrath is our leader.
Looks to me like McGrath was content to stay behind Button those first few laps while he was riding so well. As soon as Button started making a few mistakes, that pace started to slow just a little bit, and Jeremy feels faster. Take over the lead and let Button try to follow him all the way to the checkered flag.
Let's take another look at it.
Button almost taking Jeremy out. Incredible balance in the middle of that whoop section full of ruts for Jeremy to not run into him, take them both out, control the inside of the corner. Now we'll see if Button can hang with him.
16 laps to go. Jeremy McGrath looking for his first victory of the season. He is the points leader, and Emig and Lusk are way back. It's Jeremy McGrath, Jimmy Button. Larry Ward is starting to pick up on Jimmy Button. It'll be interesting to hear this crowd at the Kingdome when their local favorite puts the pressure on. And coming up in back of Larry Ward is Doug Henry. Michael Brown is next. Emig, having a lot of trouble in the whoops, is passed by Windham and Hughes.
One mistake will cost you a couple of positions. McGrath starting to get away a little bit. Button starting to ride defensive with Ward on his tail, and Henry's right there to take advantage.
You know, David Bailey, Jeremy McGrath told us that he made a basic mistake last week with the lead, getting out, putting it at crunch time. He got into overdrive, pacing it too soon.
Yeah, I really felt like in the first 5 or 6 laps, it was Jeremy's race. And he did take it a little bit easy, and then his Lusk coming made him a little bit nervous, and then Jeremy anticipated getting into those lappers, his arms pumped up, and everything went south. He's got to put it out of reach here.
5-second lead over second place. This was the battle for second. Larry Ward having a little bit of trouble there in the whoops in the beginning, holding on to third with Henry right on his back rubber.
Larry Ward saying all year he's been pretty comfortable, just having a little bit of a confidence problem. Whoa! Doug Henry with a great block pass right there. I think caught Larry by surprise.
So now Henry moves into the podium spot. Will Larry Ward settle for that? They put a lot of extra required practice time in this week at Team Suzuki. A strong message from Roger DeCoster. And practice is so late on Monday night, they had to run with lights. Here is the Suzuki field summary. McGrath, Button, Henry, Ward, and Mike Brown.
And you can see that the guys second through fourth, all are guys that needed to get the ball rolling, needed a good finish, a good start. They've all got it. But Henry, after that this terrible mistake on the last lap in LA, really set the tone. He's had trouble ever since to get that good result. Ward and Brown both needed to get good starts. Behind them, it's Kevin Windham running about where he's been running all so far this season.
McGrath out in front. He's looking for 5 straight Seattle podiums. I take that back. He's looking for his 5th straight Seattle podium, Davey Combs.
Yeah, remember I told you guys down the starting line about the Chaparral riders and the Kawasaki riders line up together? Well, right now, Chaparral is 1 and 2. Kawasaki is 6, 7, and 8. So looks like Chaparral got the better start there, and it's carried over way into this main event.
Jeremy told me earlier he likes his position right now, and obviously he's in first place in this race, but before the race started, he liked his position. But this sport is all about confidence in yourself.
Our whole sport has evolved around believing in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, then what do you have? You have nothing. So every one of these guys out here has to believe in themselves quite a bit, because as much as people say it might be a team sport, it's not. It's an individual sport.
Our leader here in the 250 main in the Kingdome is Jeremy McGrath with his teammate Jimmy Button in second, Henry in third, Ward in fourth, Brown in fifth, Windham, Hughes, and Huffman the order. We'll be right back as this race continues in a moment. Welcome back to the Kingdome in Seattle. Ezra Lusk is back to 9th position. Now, unofficially, when I saw him go down, it looked like he was in about 16th or so, David Vuillemin.
Yeah, he went way back, had to pick himself up, straighten things out. Now he's got 3 guys right in front of him all the way up to Windham. He's definitely going a little faster than they are. Getting around him is a whole other story because they're taking up all the lines. He's got nowhere left to go.
Right, the 2 Kawasaki riders, Huffman and Hughes, are like bookends in front of him.
Well, it's really frustrating for Lusk right now, I bet, because he knows he's as fast, if not faster, than anybody on the racetrack, but McGrath has been all week, and a little mistake cost him the win when he knows he should be able to go out there and make it 3 for 3.
There's Mike Gossler, his mechanic, looking on. Here's where maturity has to play a part. He's still in a points race, but he's got to make his way up. Here's Ezra Lusk. Got the break he needed.
Gets 2 guys at once. I talked to Stanton in the pits, asked him if he thought overconfidence may be just a little bit of a problem for Lusk after the way he's been riding lately. He said, well, we talked about that. Lusk just wants to take each race as a new one. It's not the guy that's the fastest that always wins. The guy that's the smartest. He wanted to get a start in the top 5. A little mistake there. Play is cool, and then let his fitness do the talking towards all the way to the end of the race. He knows he can go on any track they build, no matter how rough and rutted, for 25 laps all out. And that may make the difference down the stretch here.
As he moves up to 7th place, Team Honda's number 3, Ezra Lusk. Jeff Emig is simply fading.
Every time Emig comes around to that one loop section, there's one bump there that he can't get figured out in the timing. He's got to slow down and ride through it. He's just getting eaten up alive.
Jeremy McGrath, our leader, with Jimmy Button right there. 9 laps to go from the Kingdome. Windham, number 8. Number 15 is Huffman. They're way back in the pack.
Windham just has to watch. Lusk rode right around him on the outside. Lusk is definitely on the move. He can see up to Brown and then Larry Ward, so it's possible for him to make the podium here, but boy, his laps are winding down. It's going to take a lot of effort.
Jeremy McGrath has an 8-second lead on 2nd place as we take a look at number 2. He's won here 5 times, the 250 in 93, 95, and 96. He won the 125s here twice in 91 and 92. He was 2nd in 97 and 3rd in 94 only because of a flat tire.
Right, it's amazing the guy could do so well with a flat tire. Larry Ward still not letting Henry off the hook. Charging into that whoop section before the finish. Got to be hard to try to pass a 4-stroke, because that guy, Henry, gets such a burst of power out of the corners, and that thing throws up a pretty good roost, and all that light color stuff in the dirt, those are rocks. When they hit you, they hurt. It messes up your concentration.
Here comes Larry Ward making a move on Henry. Henry, number 19 on the 4-stroke. Larry Ward on the Team Suzuki. Ward just having a miserable start on the season, but is really hoping right here in Seattle to recapture some. And Larry Ward cuts the inside on Doug Henry.
Great move.
Unbelievable. He gambled. Big gamble there.
Wasn't a lot of room on that inside, but Larry just positioned himself. I always say it. He beat the guy to the corner, and he got the inside, and he got the pass. And it's not impossible. Larry Ward is going to have that much farther to go up to Button. So if Button fades a little bit, Larry Ward's got second.
Number 4 is Blitzen. Les McCallum, his mechanic, and Davies with him now.
Yeah, he's very busy. He's writing on the board right now for Larry to stay calm and stay loose. Very excited. Suzuki needs a podium really bad, and Larry Ward might be the guy to deliver.
Well, Lusk right now, very possible that he could catch all the way up to Larry Ward. Not that much farther to go. Lusk is on the move.
Incredible. Lusk in 5th position after that going down into the dirt. You know, Suzuki, 15 podiums in 16 races last year, and so far, they haven't had a podium. Their hopes right now are on number 4.
What he's got to do is get up there and battle with Button, because what he doesn't know is behind him, Lusk is coming hard.
7 laps to go. How far can Lusk move up the ladder? The amazing superstar, Jeremy McGrath, is our leader, with Jimmy Button being challenged now by Larry Ward. Henry is falling back. That gives Lusk a chance.
Henry is starting to fade a little bit. It's a little bit more energy to ride that bike around the track. I pointed out in Houston, the bike's roughly 10 pounds heavier. Just strap an extra 10 pounds to you and try to do the same thing. It's a little tougher. Ward really starting to put the pressure on Button now. This is where Button has to be smart, has to prove to everyone and really to himself that he can deal with pressure down the stretch, make good decisions, and end up front where he deserves to be. That's where he's ridden the whole race. Don't make a big mistake now and throw it away.
Well, conditioning definitely is going to play a part right now. If not a mistake, with 5 laps to go, Jeremy McGrath with a big lead on Jimmy Button and Larry Ward. The real battle is for second place right now.
Button through the whoops. He always gets the front end low right there, that second hop through there. His teammate McGrath is getting all the way over another bump, which allows him to just keep a nice momentum all the way to the end.
Jimmy Button, the only chaparral rider to be on a 250 podium, and that was last year in Minnesota. Here you've got Lusk taking on Henry. Henry is in 4th.
Rider going down, everyone had to dodge him. Look at Lusk, jumps all the way up over that section right there, making a lot of time.
Lusk is fighting for points right now. He might not be able to catch the leader unless something happens. Here comes Ezra Lusk, making an easy pass to the inside. And Henry, now for the 4th race in a row, has faded.
Still putting in a pretty decent ride, though. He went hard in the beginning, moved up to the front. Maybe a little bit like McCormick in the 125 class. Tried a lot early on, maybe burn himself out. The next time Larry Ward looks over his shoulder, if he does, he's going to see that red number 3 coming. That'll change and put a whole different paint job on.
Here comes Larry Ward. Button tries to close the door on him. Ward to the inside. Through the rhythm section. Jimmy Button holding his own. So far hasn't made the big mistake. Larry Ward jamming at that time. And Ezra Lusk is on the come.
Ward getting caught in a deep rut. These guys not able to get over that section. Lusk is. Where he's gaining a lot of time. Button holding his own up to this point. Riding a steady race.
In case you just tuned in, it's Jeremy McGrath in good position for his first victory of the season. McGrath looking for his 46th career win is out in front. Here's the battle for second place. And right behind Larry Ward, of course, is Ezra Lusk.
I know Ward wants to get second, but he's got to be happy with a podium finish here tonight. And if he's going to get a podium, Lusk gaining the way he is, he's got to get around.
Ward brings the crowd alive! But Button has him in the corner. Good positioning by Jimmy Button. Button able to use the track.
Yeah, he did a perfect job right there to maintain his line.
Here comes Lusk. Lusk making a move on Larry Ward. The fans are disappointed. They want their Washington native to hold on. But Ezra Lusk is now threatening to bump rubber.
Well, that was a big move for Button back there to hold Larry Ward off. If he hadn't have done that, this would be him right here trying to hold off Lusk. Instead, he's got about a 25-yard lead back to those guys now. A little breathing room.
This says a lot for Jimmy Button, that's for sure. As Ezra Lusk and Larry Ward battle for the final podium spot. With Jeremy McGrath, 2 laps to go, our leader overwhelmingly Out in front, Ezra Lusk to the inside. Will he hold on to the podium spot with Larry Ward on the attack? Doug Henry is behind Ward.
This is an unbelievable ride for Lusk. I don't know how far back he dropped. I lost count, but he was way back 10th or worse. Charge all the way up and have a shot at second. It's just an amazing ride. It says so much for his fitness.
Of course, he's been working out now with Ricky Carmichael back in Georgia. The two have been getting together and working out hard as we take a look at the four-time consecutive champion trying to win back a title. The white flag lap for Jeremy McGrath.
Great ride for Jeremy. And Jeremy elevates his teammates, the people around him. Button's beneficiary of that. Last year he elevated the Suzuki team. Now he's doing it to Button.
Team Hondas. Ezra Lusk trying to make a move on the Chaparral. The Chaparral Yamaha of Jimmy Button. Larry Ward still holding on behind Lusk, trying to hold off Henry. Oh, Button's done a fantastic job.
Did a good job right there to take just the right line and take away the options from Lusk. He couldn't go in there and slam the door. Coming up, there's a section. This is where Lusk has been fast.
Ezra Lusk into second place. Incredible. Can Jimmy Button hold on to the podium spot?
And now he's got Larry Ward knocking on the door. They got about a quarter of a lap to go.
The checkers for Jeremy. 62 career wins. When you count them all up, Supercross and motocross, one away from the all-time record held by Ricky Johnson and Bob Hanna. We'll be right back talking with a first-time winner on the season, Jeremy McGrath, in a moment. Feels like zero down or low APR financing on selected models.
Larry Ward with a last-ditch effort goes and takes the front wheel of Button. Button stays up, tries to get him back, goes off the track right here. That allows Ward, Henry, and I believe Huffman to all get through.
So it ends up Jeremy McGrath, Ezra Lusk, and Doug Henry on the podium, with Larry Ward and Damon Huffman rounding out the top five. Jimmy Button holding on to sixth place. Davey Coombs.
Just chaos on that last lap, but not for you, man. Congratulations. A great ride for you in Chaparral Yamaha.
Yeah, thanks a lot. My Chaparral Yamaha 800 Collect Bridgestone tire bike was working excellent, you know. I mean, I got a really good start. My teammate was out front. He made a little mistake. I got by him, and I just kind of tried to ride a really clean race and ended up gapping those guys by about 7 seconds.
Yeah, I know we asked you this question a few times last year. I'm going to ask you it again for the first time this year. Is Jeremy McGrath back?
Well, you know, I think so, for sure. I mean, the first race I got third, the second race I got second. Third race I got second, but it was a close second, and this time came out swinging. So I'm really happy to be up here, and, you know, winning the first time for the year, it's excellent. I mean, I feel like I belong here.
All right, well, congratulations, Jeremy, and we're going to turn over here beside me, and I now have the second place finisher. This guy rode a really hard race. Yogi, you came from so far back, I don't even know where you started, but congratulations on second.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I knew I had to be strong and put in great laps all the way to the end, and that's what I did, and I was able to come up to second, and I want to thank Honda and Fox and Dunlop and good Lord Jesus Christ for keeping me safe.
Do you think if you hadn't had that early fall, you could have gotten up there with Jeremy?
I think it would have been a great race again, you know. I felt great out there, and I could see Jeremy inching away when I was coming up through the pack, and there's nothing I could do, you know. I wasn't too far back, and then Emig pulled an amateur move out there and took me out, but you know, that's the kind of guy he is, and you just got to be looking out for it, so I'll be looking out for it.
Jeff Emig, it didn't help him much as far as the race today, David Bailey, because he slips down in the points. As we take a look at the Suzuki point standings, Jeremy McGrath extending his lead, of course, on Emig, as he has now a total of 89 points. Ezra Lusk, his unbelievable battle back to second place, keeps him 12 points in back of Jeremy McGrath. It's been an unbelievable evening. Jeremy McGrath now with 46 wins on his quest to capture 50 Supercross victories before his career is over. Art Ekman for David Bailey, Davey Coombs. Happy that you could join us for AMA Supercross. Check us out now next from San Diego for round number 5. So long now. This has been a presentation of ESPN the worldwide leader in sports.